Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt. Imagine a big, beautiful city by the sea in Egypt. This city was called Alexandria. It was full of life, ideas, and learning. There were people from many countries, and the city had a great library with thousands of books. It was one of the most important cities in the world. About 2,000 years ago, in this amazing city, a baby girl was born. Her name was Cleopatra VII Philopator. She was a princess in a royal family. One day, she would become the Queen of Egypt. Alexandria was not like other Egyptian cities. It was built by Alexander the Great, a famous Greek leader. So, many rulers in Egypt were Greek, not Egyptian. Cleopatra's family, the Ptolemies, spoke Greek and followed Greek customs. They did not even speak the Egyptian language. But Cleopatra was different from the rest of her family. When Cleopatra was a young girl, she studied hard. She loved to learn. She read books about history, science, and math. She also studied politics, literature, and religion. Cleopatra was very smart. Something very special about her was that she learned to speak Egyptian. Most of her family never did. By learning the language of the people, she could talk to them directly. She wanted to understand them. This helped her later when she became queen. She was closer to her people, and they respected her. Cleopatra also learned other languages. Some say she spoke as many as 7 or 9. She could speak with foreign leaders without a translator. This was very helpful for making alliances and peace. It made her a strong and clever ruler. But life in the palace was not easy. Her family had many problems. Brothers and sisters often fought for power. Cleopatra had to be careful. She watched everything and learned how to survive. She knew that being queen one day would not be simple. At the same time, far away in Europe, Rome was becoming very strong. Rome had a big army and a lot of land. The Romans were interested in Egypt. Egypt had gold, wheat, and a rich history. Cleopatra saw that Egypt was weaker than before. Her family had ruled for a long time, but now they were losing power. She understood that Egypt had to be careful. Rome wanted to take control. Cleopatra had a dream. She wanted to keep Egypt free and strong. She believed that knowledge and intelligence were more powerful than weapons. She spent many hours reading and studying in the famous library of Alexandria. In Egypt, the queen was often seen as a goddess. Cleopatra used this idea. She showed herself to her people as the goddess Isis. This gave her more power and made the people love her more. Many men in Rome did not believe that a woman could be strong. They thought Cleopatra was just a young princess. But she was smart and brave. She knew how to make plans and how to wait for the right time to act. Later, her younger brother wanted to be king too. He and his advisors forced Cleopatra to leave the palace. She had to run away, but she did not give up. She waited for the right moment to return. Then something big happened. Julius Caesar, the most powerful Roman general, came to Egypt. He came because there were problems in Alexandria and also because Rome wanted more control. Cleopatra saw her chance. She wanted to meet Caesar and ask for his help. But her enemies were in the palace. How could she enter? There is a famous story. It says that Cleopatra hid inside a carpet. Her servant brought the carpet to Caesar. When the carpet was opened, Cleopatra appeared. Caesar was surprised and impressed. But it was not just the entrance that impressed him. Cleopatra spoke clearly and wisely. She showed Caesar that she could be a strong and clever queen. He decided to help her. With Caesar's support, Cleopatra returned to the throne. She became queen again. Now Egypt had a new link to Rome through Caesar and Cleopatra. Cleopatra and Caesar became close. They had a son together. His name was Caesarion. Cleopatra went to Rome to visit Caesar. The people were shocked. She was beautiful, different, and confident. But many Romans were not happy. They did not like the idea of a Roman leader being close to a foreign queen. Caesar had enemies. Some men in the Roman Senate were afraid of him. In 44 BC, Caesar was killed by a group of senators. Cleopatra was very sad and afraid. She had lost her strongest friend. She returned to Egypt with her son. She knew that Rome was still powerful. She had to think of a new plan to protect Egypt. Rome became divided. Two strong leaders wanted power: Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, and Mark Antony, Caesar's friend and general. Mark Antony went east. He needed money and help. He looked to Egypt. Cleopatra also needed a new ally. She decided to meet Mark Antony. She arrived on a beautiful ship with gold, music, and perfumes. Antony was amazed. Cleopatra used her charm again. She and Antony became close, like she had been with Caesar. But this was also political. He gave her protection. She gave him money and support. Together, they had children. They lived a rich life with many parties. Some people in Rome were angry. They believed Cleopatra wanted to rule Rome through Antony. Octavian told the Roman people that Cleopatra was dangerous. He said she was using magic to control Antony. People began to fear her. The conflict grew into a war. Cleopatra and Antony fought against Octavian. The final battle was at sea, the Battle of Actium. It was a disaster. Cleopatra and Antony lost the battle. They escaped and returned to Alexandria. They knew Octavian would follow them. Soon he arrived with his army. He surrounded the city. Mark Antony heard that Cleopatra had died. He was very sad and stabbed himself with his sword. Before he died, he was taken to Cleopatra. He died in her arms. Cleopatra was now alone. Octavian wanted to take her to Rome as a prisoner. He wanted to show her in a victory parade. But Cleopatra did not want this. She was a queen. She wanted to die with dignity. She dressed in her royal clothes and went into a special room with her two most loyal servants. The most famous story says she used a small snake, an asp, to bite her and kill her. Others say she used poison. No one knows for sure, but we know that Cleopatra chose to die on her own terms. With Cleopatra's death, the long history of the pharaohs in Egypt came to an end. Egypt became a part of the Roman Empire. Cleopatra's son, Caesarion, was killed by Octavian. But even though Rome won and Cleopatra died, her story did not end. The Romans, like Octavian, tried to make people think that Cleopatra was a bad and dangerous woman. But people remembered her intelligence, her beauty, and her strength. Writers, artists, and filmmakers have told her story for hundreds of years. Cleopatra became a legend. She is remembered not because she won battles, but because she was a strong and intelligent woman who stood against the most powerful empire in the world. Her story shows us that intelligence, language, and determination can be very powerful, even when facing great challenges.